Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome or welcome back to the Wilmac Wire. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that while you're listening to this episode, you're enjoying some nice summer weather, bright blue skies, not too many clouds, some sun, feeling that vitamin D on your face. The weather has finally turned here in Rochester, New York. And as you can tell, I'm a little bit excited. I'm sitting in one of our conference rooms in the Wilmac Technologies headquarters based in Rochester, New York. We're up on the 10th floor, so we have a pretty sweet view of the city. And that's what I'm seeing, bright blue skies and sun. We just wrapped up our company-wide half-year meeting a few weeks back where we, for the first time since I've been here, so at least in 5 years, we had everyone in the company in our Rochester headquarters to enjoy some vision alignment, some team building, and then setting our goals as to what we want to achieve in the second half of this year. So for today's episode, though, let's stay on track here for what we're here for today. You know that every so often we like to turn the mic inward and check in on what's happening inside of Wilmac. We call these episodes Behind the Build, and they happen quarterly, so we were due for another one. Every Behind the Build episode, we sit down with Bob Pease, our VP of Engineering, to talk about where our products are, what we're seeing in the market, and more and more frequently with these episodes, they've become a conversation about AI, where it's showing up in our products, where it's showing up in our industry, how it's showing up in our business, and how we're utilizing it day to day and trying to pioneer it within our region. So it's a fun one. I always enjoy these episodes. Here's what you can expect to get out of today's Wilmac Wire episode. You'll get an update on both Wilmac Continuity WFM and Wilmac Continuity Replay, including what's evolved, what we're building, what's next, who's contributing. We also, of course, are taking a look at Agentic AI and how it's showing up across both products with our friends Mac and Archie. Those are the names of our AI agents for WFM and Replay, respectively. And like I mentioned before, a broader conversation on AI, what we're seeing, how it's being utilized within our organization, and where we think it's going. So really exciting conversation today. I will also do a little disclaimer that we're kicking things off a little bit differently. You guys know I love my icebreakers. So instead of this or that, I am going to force Bob and Steve to play a round of on point or off point, I'm calling it. So to get a better idea of what that means, I'm sorry, you're going to have to keep listening. So thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Wilmac Wire. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Wilmac Wire. I'm Emily Miller, joined by my co-host, Steve McDonnell. On this show, we talk with the drivers, the leaders, innovators, and decision makers pushing customer interaction technology and AI forward. And because we're proud to call Western New York home, we also spotlight the drivers in our own community, the people and organizations shaping growth and innovation right here. Let's get into it. Welcome, listeners, back to the Wilmac Wire. Thank you for joining us today. It is a repeat guest today. This is our quarterly Behind the Build update. So we have just headed into quarter 3 at Wilmac. So I'm here today with my co-host, Steve McDonnell, and then Bob Pease, Wilmac's VP of Engineering. Bob, welcome back.
Happy to be here. Excited as always.
Oh, yeah. We love having you on the podcast, especially when we're at our nice little round table at Rockbox Studios. So before we get into kind of our topics of discussion today, you guys knew an icebreaker was coming, and I couldn't do what we've done in the past and just be repetitive. So I have a new one for you today. I have 5 prompts, all revolving around AI, and I'm going to ask you and Steve to tell me if you think it's on point or off point. So on point being you agree, it's relevant, and off point being, oh, you disagree, it's irrelevant. All right, so we'll work through this in real time. Okay, starting with the first one. AI will replace more jobs than it creates in the next 5 years. That's a loaded one. I didn't realize I had that one first.
This is a can of worms.
I didn't realize I had that one first.
I think yes and no. We can already see where AI is replacing jobs. Companies are doing mass layoffs for AI, that sort of thing. But we can also see, Microsoft just announced they're rolling back their Claude usage because they're spending a lot of money, right? So I think we're still kind of finding our footing here in the industry, but I think the thing I feel most strong about is we're going to see a lot more AI-focused jobs coming out, right? Roles are going to shift, and it's going to be more focused on AI-specific roles.
Okay. Yeah, if you had asked me this even 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, I would have said definitely AI will replace more jobs. Now with kind of everything shifting, there's definitely going to be layoffs, but I think it's going to create just as many, if not more, jobs. I think there's going to be new openings, new types of jobs that AI needs. So I don't think it's going to be a complete displacement. I think it'll be a displacement in certain jobs.
Yeah.
And I do think people coming out of college, as we've discussed, you need to know AI. If you don't know how to utilize AI, you are behind. And no matter what role you're going into, you have to be able to learn how to harness and utilize AI. But I think it should create more than displace.
I agree. On point. No, I'm kidding. AI will replace more jobs than it creates in the next 5 years. That's off point as our sentiment. All right. Next one. Companies that haven't started their AI rollout by 2026 are already behind. Who wants to start with this one?
I think that's on point. I mean, I don't care what industry you're in. If you're not utilizing it or beginning to utilize it, I think you're behind the eight ball. I obviously some companies are way further ahead.
Yeah.
Everyone should be dabbling in it. I see a lot of large companies that aren't technology companies really being forced to use Microsoft Copilot. And I think that's going to hinder a lot of these companies. They should be, and they're doing it for compliance, procurement, partnership reasons. I don't know, but not using one of the Claude, OpenAI, or even Grok, or what's the one, the sales guy, Perplexity. Not using those and just sticking to Copilot, you're going to get behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
So understand that not everyone might be as far along as some tech companies, but you should be having some sort of plan at this point.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's entirely on point. It happens so fast, and if you're not adopting it, it's going to be kind of forced upon you, for lack of a better term. Like every software that you're using is working on their own AI initiatives, right? So if you're not getting up and running internally, you're definitely behind.
That's what I was going to call out. Like all the subscription software that we use, like there's just AI capabilities being added to it. So it's being pushed in our faces and we're in it every day. I agree that is on point. Okay, next one. Most companies saying that they have agentic AI don't actually have agentic AI. I feel like this goes a little bit to the conversation we were just having with the different types of AI.
We're going to dive into some of the agents we've been building.
Yes.
Mac and Archie later. I think it's tough. I mean, some of this is more like verbiage and theory. I think there's a lot of companies out there that have some great SaaS solutions or software solutions that are probably just building a chatbot or a Copilot and saying they have agentic AI. So I think that happens a lot.
Yeah.
What I'll say, but then there's true SaaS platforms that also are building true agentic AI agents, and then there's just pure AI companies that never even built platforms that are just purely agentic AI. So I think it's both.
Yeah, I don't know that I have anything I can even add to that, to be honest with you.
It's a marketing thing. That's honestly what it is. And yes, there are the clear definitions of it, and we'll talk about those different kinds, but it's all about your perception. So next one, I think Steve will like this one. Vertical AI is the future. On point or off point?
It's our future.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
I think when you look at the tech stack of AI in general, where we play is the application layer. And I think the best place for application layer is niche verticals. I think that's the toughest for the large language models or future LLMs to adapt to, and people just to be able to build it quickly, either themselves or a small company coming and starting up. I think vertical AI is specialized. They have specialized workflows, specialized compliance, security to get into these places. If you're verticalized, you have distribution models that other people don't have. So I think in the application layer of AI, which I think will eventually become one of the most abundant industries in the history of the world, I think vertical AI is a good spot to play in if you're a company.
Yeah. And I mean, for our listeners too, vertical AI, like you said, it's specialized. It's industry specific.
It's a very specific industry. So Wilmac builds Continuity WFM for PSAPs or 911 centers. If you want to even broaden a little, you'd call it public safety, but that's a very specific industry. We build continuity replay for regulated industries. That's anyone that has severe compliance with a lot of data, which that's a little broader of vertical, but it's still a vertical. It's not horizontal. A horizontal would be like your open models right now, or like a payroll company. You can basically sell to any company out there.
Right.
Vertical companies are selling and building to specific industries, and they build specialized products for those industries.
Yeah. Bob, anything to add to that?
Not a ton. I guess what came to mind for me is literally anyone can build an AI product using an LLM. It's it's not that hard. It's so readily available to us. That does not make a great product. The people that are really making a splash out there in the industry are the folks that are focused on specialized products on niche industries.
Yeah, solving a very specific problem.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Bear with me. I don't think I should have done 5 now reflecting back on it. But last one. Okay, the best AI products being built right now are coming from small companies, not big tech. I think Steve has chuckled at every single one.
Well, I think, is it products or applications? I mean, the LLMs are now not small companies at all.
No,
They're the largest
right.
companies in the world. I don't know if you call that. They are products, especially for the consumer and stuff. Are they enterprise products? I guess they're taking over software engineers. So I don't know. That's a mix. I think smaller companies have way more access and ability to build awesome applications now. But I don't think a smaller company could go out and get into the other kind of tiers of AI. I think the only part of the stack that smaller companies can play in at this point due to capital really is application. But as I said earlier, I think it's going to be massively abundant. So a smaller company could build something awesome way easier, where you might need even 5-6 years ago, you need 30 software developers to build an awesome product. You need 2 or 3 AI engineers now that can build this awesome product.
Yeah.
So it opens up the world to smaller companies, but I still think some of the larger companies have a good grasp on what's going on and a big advantage.
I don't think that AI changes this from my perspective. I mean, even historically, smaller companies are usually more agile and creating cooler, right, more disruptive type technologies. And I think a lot of the big players today are helping the smaller guys really disrupt, right? When you look at Anthropic or OpenAI, like they're adding the tools that enable those smaller companies to go out there and crush it.
Right. All right. Awesome. Thank you guys
At the
for
same
doing
time, they're trying to
Take away that business?
let end users just build it themselves too. So it's kind of a interesting market going on out there, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out over the next few years.
That's for sure. Yeah. Thank you guys for humoring me. I know we didn't stick to the on point, off point answer, but it's facilitated some good discussion. All right. We're going to jump now into kind of the crux of our typical behind the build conversations, and we're going to hone in on Continuity WFM, Wilmac Continuity WFM to start. So, Bob, I'm going to let you get things started by sharing kind of what's changed and evolved since the last time we spoke in February.
So much. I love WFM.
Yeah.
I'm working on it with the team because we're getting through so many problems, even just on a weekly basis, whether that's a simple enhancement that we hear about, a major feature we have to release, or my favorite part is the AI initiatives that we're running with. I think the biggest and probably the thing I'm most proud of with the team is the abilities we've added to Mac. So you can now add skills. And why that's powerful is...
Want to just bring it back quick for our audience? We're throwing out WFM Mac.
Yeah.
You want to just give a quick 30-second overview of what WFM is
Yep.
and what Mac is?
So
to WFM?
Continuity WFM is a workforce management tool built specifically for PSAP. So folks run 911 centers and how they have to manage scheduling and people management of those centers. Mac is the AI agent that we built alongside Continuity WFM that really serves every layer of your PSAP, whether it's your individual telecommunicators, your supervisors, your directors, et cetera. So back to, adding skills. We have all these cool things we can do with Mac, automating workflow approvals and generating requests and analyzing data. Skills allow a supervisor to build their own flow around all of those features to complete bigger, more complex tasks. So my favorite one to lean on, a lot of times when a supervisor walks in, the very first thing they do at the start of their shift is come up with a report. I need to know what's going on today. Is there anything critical that I have to be aware of? Any major changes that are coming? You can now build a skill with Mac that will go pull all the relevant data out of Continuity WFM and produce that report for you to help you know what fires you have to put out right away, what issues am I going to address during roll call before people even go sit down. And that has been really powerful and really resonating with our users.
And skills, they essentially help you further customize too, right? Depending on the PSAP?
Correct. We did not invent the idea of skills. It's common in pretty much any AI platform out there.
Claude.
But yes, yes, absolutely. We lean on the Claude example all the time. A skill is just you write your own instructions that get fed into the agent so that when he runs his calls, he actually knows what to do.
Okay, and what would an example of a particular skill be? Like, I know we've talked about it before, but okay, someone deals with a very heavy call. Is there a rule around, okay, they have to have a certain amount of break time after that? Or
Yeah,
something
that's
like
that's a great call out. So yeah, if a 911 call taker is on a really long traumatic call, oftentimes they'll get pulled off of that role for a small period of time, which might mean that they don't get scheduled for call taking for a week, right? Now, if we think of the workflow of a supervisor, they have to go and mark all of that and track it and make sure they're not getting scheduled there. Well, you could build a skill that would define those rules effectively within Mac. And then when that scenario comes up, hey, Emily had a traumatic call and I need to pull her off call taking for a while, it would just run that flow for you and update the system in the back end so that you don't get scheduled as a call taker for whatever that defined threshold is.
Right.
So it's really flexible because in plain text, you can just describe what your rules are and Mac will enforce them for you.
Yeah, very powerful. Okay, looking at roadmap, so the kind of the product strategy has been very top of mind for us, at least for sure over the past quarter. It's always been there. But how's the team thinking about kind of what's coming next? We're having a lot more conversations with PSAPs around it that you guys are being involved in. So how's that going?
It's going great. First off, I'm pulling more of my team directly to those conversations, which has been, I don't know, night and day difference because now I don't have to go and have these conversations and then try to regurgitate the information back to them. They're getting it firsthand. So we're just executing way faster. Our roadmap is focused on really two areas. One, are there any big bang features that people are calling out that we need to add to the product overall for quality of life for PSAP? So a great example of this one is a lineup feature. One of the customers we're working with, they don't just assign all of their workers to specific stations. They actually get to choose on a daily basis. And this is a huge perk for them. So we went and rolled out a feature and then come to find out other PSAPs were also interested in this feature. So that sort of thing is where my mind goes when I talk about big bang features. The other area is making Mac more autonomous. That's what's on our roadmap. Mac started as really just a chatbot to help guide people through and understand what Continuity WFM is. And then it became kind of a co-pilot and could answer a few more questions that were specific to your data. Now we're in agentic mode where it can actually go make changes to your systems based on your requests. And the next logical step there is fully automating it, so that you can actually schedule Mac to go do things on a regular basis, right? Every day, Mac, I want you to go and analyze all the time off requests and approve what can be approved and flag anything that needs further review by the supervisor.
Can you discuss team development? I don't want to steal any thunder, but we recently had our first pure AI engineer hire. He's been with us not even a month and is off to the races. Pretty impressive. So can you talk about, I'm assuming most of the new additions we'll be making in the next, 3 months to 18 months will be probably pure AI people.
100%. Yes. So night and day difference for a skill set on the team. So we hired a data scientist who has experience building out AI for large enterprises. And just the skill set that he has and the way he thinks about these problems is why he's moving so quickly. And of course, he's leveraging AI to develop his code, just like the rest of the team. So he's been doing awesome. When he came aboard, we did our breakout sessions during our mid-year. And the first one, we just kind of went through and taught him, here's the architecture of what we have today. And he had some ideas of what he thought he wanted to do. And we said, hey, will you take us through and teach us these architectures? Mm-hmm. And then from there, just all of a sudden, we started getting to work. Like we all saw where the gaps were and where the alignment was. And he was able to just go and start building. Wow. And then they're coming out in all of our team meetings, like we're teaching each other things. Yeah. And that's been awesome. And I can tell you for sure, we made a few mistakes along the way in developing our AI, but he's coming in and saying, oh, if you take this approach instead, that's what makes it better. Here's how you get your efficiencies and optimizations in your AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one of the cool things, obviously he's working on Archie and Mac. Archie has a large customer base, so he's really running towards that. But his feedback comes from a Fortune 200, Fortune 300 company, and just on how, and it's good feedback for you and how you've developed your team, how he can take something, run with it, and we can be deploying it at a customer site within days, if not next week. Mm-hmm. Or the sales team could be coming in and talking to the product team and being like, yeah, let's go and do this. And they're getting a real live example that's going to go out, be shipped quickly. And coming from a huge company that he comes from, that's just not how it works over there. Everything moves slow. Bureaucracy hits. You could be working on something and it could take a year or two to hit, if it ever does hit. So I think the excitement about working at a company like ours, a small, flexible, kind of pushing the edges right now, he was very excited about that. And I think that definitely is something we need to take advantage of. And it's an exciting moment for Wilmac to be there right now.
Yeah, it really is. And the autonomy that we gave him to just go out and start experimenting, building. Like I told, just go build whatever. And he would ask me, can I use this technology or that technology? And I was like, yes, go do it. And then come back and teach us what you learn. That's the key thing. Mm-hmm. And that's been working really well.
Yeah, I got to give him a shout out if he's listening. Sammy Gould, welcome to the Wilmac Pack. Sammy, we're happy you're here, and you're definitely a light around the office. Always makes me feel welcome whenever I walk in. Says hello. Sammy is the man. All right, Steve, I want to ask you a little bit about conferences and the speaking experiences that you've had at those. So we're talking about product here, and now we're talking about the building of the back end, that thought leadership. But we're also trying to translate that to educational efforts at these conferences, and we're ramping up our conference attendance quite a bit. So can you talk a little bit about your experiences?
Yeah, so I think we've kind of told the audience, but WFM, workforce management, has been around contact centers for 20 to 30 years. We have built it with AI and bringing it to the only call-taking industry that we believe isn't utilizing it, which is crazy, as they're the ones saving lives. So there's a lot of thought leadership that goes around it, because the people we're trying to pitch this to and the customer base has never even heard of it, doesn't know how it works, and doesn't have a budget for it. So we've been going to conferences quite a bit the past 3 months probably. And we have a heavy schedule coming up. We're speaking. It's exciting to get out there and doing these speaking engagements. We've been kind of going back and forth. Are we speaking to higher level buyers when we do this, and where they want, some very high level value, or are we getting in speaking to the actual users and they want the nitty gritty? Mm-hmm. So trying to figure that out has been difficult but exciting, and I think we've gotten there. We have numerous people on our staff who can speak, which is great, and it's been going well. I think it's a unique and small community, the PSAP world. So you go to all these different conferences and you're running into the same vendors and similar people. So I think we're doing a great job on it. We're learning a bunch. We have a pretty large team, so it's not always the same 3 or 4 people going. I think we probably have 12 to 15 people that are able to go, that we split time with. But we are traveling literally California, Texas, Arizona, Florida. So people are going next week. So all over the country. As again, this platform, Continuity WFM, is new, and we can get it across the country. So overall, pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You have some exciting news on that front as well?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to it too. Like, not only are we bringing a new product to market, we're bringing a new concept to market.
Yeah.
So that's super exciting to talk about. The wellness piece has really started to resonate. And Bob, you just talked about it with the lineup feature, like giving telecommunicators the opportunity to kind of pick their own seat for the day. That adds an additional level that if they're told it versus get to choose it, like it definitely affects that wellness piece. But yeah, on the conference side of things, we've been ramping up so much, and I'm personally a little tired of figuring out furniture for our booth.
Goes into conferences.
A lot of logistical effort
As
goes
Emily
into
can tell you.
conferences. Yeah, I could probably start a whole podcast on what tables to choose for your booth. But Haley Gunther is joining the team, a local St. John Fisher grad. She actually starts the week this podcast will launch. So we're pumped to have her join the team and just jump right into the swing of things. Like Steve said, we've got a big lineup of conferences over the course of the next few months. We're in Florida next week. We'll be at the 2 national ones. So NINA 2026 at the end of this month in June, and then APCO 2026 down in San Antonio in August. So,
And the marketing team's been holding the fort down, organizing, getting people together to go to these things, and no one's really dedicated specifically. They have all their other marketing stuff to do. So getting Haley in here as a dedicated events coordinator for us should really
it'll be huge.
For Wilmac.
Yeah, I'm pumped for these in-person, I think, interactions. Like, Bob, I know you've been to a few conferences too. Like, they're just so valuable. And even if our ultimate goal is awareness and we want to generate interest in WFM, but just chatting with people and building that community is really powerful. Do you have anything to add on the conference
in particular
front?
Because, the 911 community, they are very collaborative. They're not competitive with one another. And just when you're in that environment, it's a totally different vibe. And I don't know, the ideas that we come up with live in those start like very small out of a specific need with an individual and just kind of snowballs again and again. So it's so valuable for us to be there.
It is.
Yeah. And before we move on, I want to congratulate Bob, John, Ben, Chad, Evan, the kind of leaders of WFM. We have several pilots out there currently with some of the largest 911 centers in the country. They are the largest 911 centers in the country. We officially launched in December, and we are doing pilot to buy program. But we received our first full PO paying customer last week. One of the 3 largest
in the United States.
In the United States. So exciting stuff.
Hopefully we'll...
Congrats to you
congrats,
guys.
Bob.
And
Great.
A lot more to come.
Yeah.
To that customer, I can't wait to have you on the podcast. All right. Anything else to share on WFM and Mac before we move into replay?
I'll just say next Behind the Build will be even more epic.
Yes. Yeah, I love it. All right, sweet. So let's move into Wilmac Continuity Replay then, just to give our listeners a little bit of context. We've talked about this before, but the theme lately has for sure been in the public safety space. As Steve called out, Wilmac Continuity Replay, vendor-neutral compliance archive for highly regulated industries. So they're dealing with all their contact center data, their trading floor data, those communications that they need to archive for a prolonged period of time. So just as a quick brief as to what Wilmac Continuity Replay is. So it's also been a part of Wilmac's DNA, I guess I'd say, for the past 10 years. So Bob, do you want to just start things off by talking about kind of the updates? Where's the product stand today? What's been the focus for the dev team recently, and dig into that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say, the big, there's not a ton of huge feature requests that have come up recently, which is a great thing. Let me be clear. So we've been focused on strengthening our security posture, adding some new compliance programs to our belt, which is awesome. But for the dev team specifically, we rewrote the UI. So the original UI we wrote for Continuity Replay Cloud, it's fine, modern, looks nice, but we started to realize it could be better. It could be even more modern, more compact. So we have a whole new user experience that solves a whole bunch of I would say, user confusion problems that we've had in the past. So we're launching that. We're in progress of launching that now.
Yeah.
That's been going awesome. And then secondarily, building out Archie. So Archie's in the product now. He can help with some of the simpler tasks. We'll get into where Archie's going in just a minute, of course.
Yeah.
But, he can help build out your dashboards and do reporting for you and quickly find calls within Continuity Replay. So you can describe what you're looking for. It'll search your metadata for you and help automate that.
I love it. Before we move on, I have to ask Steve to explain how Archie got named.
Do you want the honest truth? No. Archiving Archie.
Yep.
I was thinking about it and I came up with it. I was fooling around with Claude and OpenAI, throwing in certain things, and they gave me a bunch of options, and I liked Archie the best, so that's what I brought to you guys, and everyone seemed to like it, so we ran with it.
I would say, when we don't put a vote to the company as to what to name the AI, it went pretty quickly.
I know it's kind of a silly thing, but I think it's so important that it,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. AI in your products needs to have a bit of a personality.
It for sure does. Well, yeah, there's that whole, we've had so many branding conversations about how we market it, maybe making sure it stands out in the product, has a little bit of different color scheme. I love that sort of psychology and thinking about that. But Bob, I also wanted to ask, so you've been at the company now what?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. So you came in, launched Continuity Replay Cloud. Now we've got a new UI, we've got Archie. Development-wise, how much different is it from when you started 2.5, 3 years ago to today?
Such a big question. It's so different, but I think the reason it's a big question, this has nothing to do with 3 years ago. This is over the last 6 months and how much AI has changed and how much myself and the dev team are leveraging AI to do our jobs and shift away from some of the old approaches to software development, which was everyone get in a room and we do all this planning and everything gets scheduled and then you go fail a bunch of times. Everything just kind of moves really, really slow. I would say we've always moved fast by everyone's standards, but compared to where we are now, I'm like, holy smokes, this is insane how quickly we move. So that's the biggest change, I would say.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like we've talked about being flexible and moving quickly. Yeah. That's kind of where I figured you would go with that. But I mean, Steve, from the standpoint of when this product was built 10 years ago to where we're now.
It's a lot different, that's for sure.
A lot different. I did want to talk to you a little bit, Bob, you mentioned about kind of like the future of Archie and the agentic AI capabilities within it, because we're dealing with a lot of data as a piece of that too, which I feel like creates a really fun foundation. So can you speak kind of more to where Archie's going?
Yeah, absolutely. So the next iteration of Archie is going to include a lot of in-the-weeds functionality that's really built around searching and analyzing your actual call content or any interactions, whether it's chat, email, et cetera. So we have transcription in the product, and we're going to be, I don't know how technical I should get. We're going to be storing those in a vector database. And what does that get you? You can do things like semantic search. So imagine the really simple use case. I want to know anyone has talked about a jacket on a call. Well, what if they said coat? That matches, right? Because it's the same thing. It has the same intent. So that's what the technologies that really Sammy's driving and bringing into the product are going to help enable us with. And then to take that a step further, if we think about audits that happen, a lot of our users today, they just get an email from someone, whether it's internal or external. I need calls that match this criteria from this period of time for audit purposes. And it's like, all right, well, now they have to go in and search. Well, we can automate that whole process and like really cut that person out of it. So that they don't have to spend hours searching through. They can just say, hey, I need to look for those calls that say jacket. And then Archie will go and find it all for you, compare it against your compliance policies, and give you a whole audit pack. Like, here's all the data you need. Here's how you export it. Here's how you give it to your auditor.
Yeah, I mean, I think Archie's really powerful, just as Mac will be powerful. But when you actually dive down to what people are doing with our products, you can see Archie really shining. Like, these people are going in, diving in, looking for calls. Give me this group of calls from 2017 to 2019 that Michael made with Fidelity. And these guys and girls that use it have to know how to navigate our UI. Yes, we try to make it super user friendly, and it's way easier than it just being in some GCP or Azure and them trying to find it that way. It's easier, but can you imagine just typing in what you need and it's right there? So I think, and not to dive into the agentic stuff below or in our next, but I think that's the big thing where you look at workforce management and Mac. Yes, Mac can do that or will be able to do all that. But I think most people want to see a calendar and want to see what's going on. So I think the UI in that world is still important. Where I think there's going to be some companies out there and some use cases where they're just like, I don't need continuity replay if Mac's hooked up to all the backend anyways. We know exactly what we want. We'll just fire out questions to Archie. Yeah. We'll just fire out questions to Archie and he can give us give it back to us in great reports. So that's why I think it's so powerful. Which is exciting.
And I mean, we were, I think, working our way towards this a couple years ago when our marketing talked about, okay, continuity replay is creating the foundational data layer that you need for your AI. Right. So this is just taking it that step further. But you brought up a point with kind of comparing Mac and Archie. I'm curious as to the approach to building Mac and Archie, how they differ, because they're very separate verticals, very separate use cases. Right. How does that approach differ, Bob?
Yeah, so it really comes down to data. So for Archie and the work he has to do, it's a lot of big data, like enterprise level data problems. We're talking hundreds of millions, if not billions of records that Archie has to be able to scan with specific criteria, understand, and then kind of get back to the user, right? So that's a really a big data problem. However, it's more restricted, I'll say, right? Because it's always around your customer interactions, right? Conversations that are happening.
Right.
When it comes to Mac, he has to understand a larger domain, and it's not big data problems. So he needs to know about the people in your center and the stations in your center and time off requests and overtime and what are your policies around those things and how does that map to your payroll and what does that mean for scheduling purposes. So the amount of things that we have to teach Mac about, we as in Wilmac, as we're building him, how we have to teach him is very different between the two products.
Gotcha. Okay, and how do you teach him?
That's a great question. So when you build,
train,
train.
Yeah. So when you're building or training an agent, you're exposing tools to it. So you have to tell it when the user says these types of things. Here's how you interpret that intent, and then here's the right tools you have to pull so that you can go and complete that task. Basically, what we're doing when a user says something, we want to give a list of tools to the agent, and the LLM is basically going to help it pick what's the right tool to accomplish the goal that the user is coming to me with.
And then just like how you are with Claude, the more our customers use it,
correct,
the better it gets and the more it understands the center.
So that gets into features like memory. Like if you use memory in Claude, right, as you have conversations and things are repeated or it notices something that's really important, it stores that to memory so that it can be reused later, right? So it's kind of self-teaching in that way.
Right. Okay. Very interesting.
And just for the audience, you have Mac, it is the AI agent for the PSAPs, and WFM is the SaaS solution for the PSAPs. Continuity Replay is our SaaS platform for the regulated industries, and Archie is the AI agent for that. So we have SaaS platforms with AI agents that kind of go along with them.
Right. They're kind of separate duos, serve different purposes. All right, Steve, I guess I'll pose kind of this wrapping up question with continuity replay to you, but is there anything that you wanted to call out on kind of the sales side from the continuity replay perspective? I know the guys have been humming with that.
So it's super exciting right now. Continuity replay plays in Archie play in a pretty cool world. So most of our customers are going to be Fortune 1000 companies, which is, as Bob said, we need tons of data. So all their customer reactions. So you're dealing with the largest companies in the world. And now we've gotten to a point where, our sales guys that know this inside and out are basically saying, hey, we got to go big whale hunting. So if you look at our pipeline, it's some heavy hitters, which is exciting. The sales cycles take a little bit longer. But those really make sense for us as to get continuity replay in there. And that's our way to get into these large places. And then Archie can just expand more and more workflows once we're in. So I don't know. I don't want to say anything I shouldn't on a podcast.
Yeah.
But we got off to a hot start first quarter with some large notable wins, CVS being one. I think I can say that one. And then now Q2, we pumped up for Q3, which we're in right now, which we're waiting on a couple signatures that probably shouldn't say, but some large companies and our pipeline is as big. It's way bigger than it's ever been. So that's exciting. That's kudos to the sales guys, to Chad, the new sales VP, kind of getting the new processes going. And then obviously marketing and our brand awareness just getting better and better.
Yeah, I think we have to shout out the partner perspective as well.
Partner program.
Yeah.
We get a lot. So these companies we sell into are large, difficult to work direct. Sometimes just getting an MSA that gives you the ability to sell into them could take a year or two. So we work through some great partners, Converge One, Five9, WWT, and these partners allow us to get into these places a little quicker and kind of expand our sales team. So good call out there. And Jim Giblin for Wilmac, who kind of heads that up for us. Jimbo.
All right. I guess as we wrap up kind of this section, Bob, is there anything else you want to share on the vein of continuity replay or Archie before we wrap up?
My excitement for Archie.
I'm just super
V2,
excited.
I guess.
Yes.
I don't know. It's my mind is blown at the strides that Sammy's been able to take and just what the next few months looks for us. I don't know.
I think too. I have to call out the UI adjustments. And I'm pretty sure Anthony pioneered that one. Anthony Hartwig. That was just wild when we have our biweekly continuity roadmap meetings, and we just came in one day, and Anthony was like, "Yeah, Claude helped me, and I basically worked through an entire revised UI," and that was pretty powerful. And that usability has become like a very consistent theme on the marketing team. Grace is like nitpicking on that. She's like, how do we make everything like this? All our marketing efforts, all our products, that sort of stuff. So I got to shout that out too. That's very exciting. All right, wonderful. Let's move into kind of our final, I guess, theme of today's conversation. So, oh boy. And then, so beyond the products that we're very close to and love to talk about, we've been embracing agentic AI as a company. We got to practice what we preach. So I was looking back in my emails. Steve originally rolled out Claude, or the use of Anthropic, March 3rd. So I guess kind of both, you have a generic question, but where are you seeing it show up most in how the company operates day to day, besides product, and where it's showing up with Mac and Archie?
So I can or cannot talk about my team?
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
So we started, the dev team started using Claude back in November. So a little bit ahead of the whole company rollout.
Yeah.
And we were just immediately like, holy cow, this is different and it's special and it's going to be a real force multiplier for the team.
Yeah.
We are using it very agentic. So we oftentimes have multiple Claude sessions running. So we're working on 2, 3, 4 initiatives for code development at the same time, which is just awesome. So that's where we're really getting the efficiencies and the speed, the velocity.
Each person has 2 to 3, 4.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Anthony is on a whole nother level. He has 6 to 8. I feel like I just can't even look at his computer screen when I walk by. He manages it very well. Where we're going, though, is more autonomy. So one of the things that I talk about a lot with my team is to stop thinking about ourselves as software engineers and more like product engineers or product managers, right? So what we want to do is, instead of spending our days at the office prompting Claude to write code, we're spending our days at the office prompting Claude to prep tickets in Jira. And then overnight, Claude is picking those up. And then when we come in the morning, we're looking at that, we're reviewing the code, and we're testing it, and then moving on to the next thing. That's where we want to get to. I don't know how quickly we'll get there. There are some tools available to us through like our code hosting platform, for example, that we're looking into that we think are going to be the key to allow us to get there.
I think it was Anthony who was showing me the podcast he listened to recently with Anthropic and someone else. Warp, yep. But the Anthropic guy was basically like, yeah, we don't prompt for coding at all anymore. We make sure we're helping them out with the loops, and the loops will prompt. And so things are flying.
So instead
there
of
on the code side,
40 hours a week, it's a 24/7 type of
Correct.
thing. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. And so, yeah, I mean, Bob, I have to say your team has definitely like pioneered the rollout at the company, and
they help everybody.
And they help everyone. Yes, always resourceful and making sure to offer a helping hand when in need. And I think too, like we started our weekly now AI kind of working sessions as a company that usually you lead or someone on your team leads. So do you want to talk a little bit about that too and kind of the rollout of how Claude's
absolutely.
going?
So we certainly recognized for some folks, Claude was brand new and this whole workflow was brand new. So we just started doing every week we'll get together. I would say it was a little awkward to get started because it's easy for me as the dev team to throw all this technical stuff right in your face. But how do we translate that to a marketing person or a project manager and the work that they have to do? So we just kind of took it slow and just started building things together, very hands-on, watch me while I work, that type of thing. And then we shifted to, all right, well, bring me use cases to this meeting, right? And let's all talk about them. What's a problem you want to solve? And we're trying to think more like not just me as an individual, but like what would be a good problem to solve for the company as a whole, because that's going to be more, it's going to translate better to the group as a whole. Or recently you vibe coded something and I put you on the spot and said, hey, on Friday, can you talk about how you came up with this, how you implemented it and some of the problems? I think those conversations are really where we're starting to get a lot of traction. We're definitely seeing it pay off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, when I was working on it that morning and I broke it, but I had an earlier version of it. So Bob was like, oh, yeah, like show them what you're doing. So I showed everyone, and we had at least representation on every team. We probably had 20 of a little over 50% of our company there. Neil chimed in, Nick Brewster chimed in. They were like asking probing questions, and they're like, have you thought about it this way? So it offered a really unique perspective on something that I like was very specific to marketing. So it is really powerful, and it kind of creates like a seminar of sorts or workshop where people can actually come and show it. And I mean, I know you've put my Grace Basil on the spot multiple times and had her show it, and she's our freaking AI guru on the marketing team too. So it's really fun to kind of see how those conversations are continuing to build. Steve, how's it looked from your perspective?
Yeah, I think, when we rolled it out, it was like experiment. Just start using this. It's, I don't want to say easy, but natural for Bob's team to do. I would say Claude and OpenAI, the first industries they attacked, not attacked, but came out after were software engineers. So it makes perfect sense. But what I'd been screwing around with OpenAI, Grok, Perplexity before I jumped into Claude. And it was more just experiment, screw around with it. It's amazing what it can do and what it can help you for. So I knew there'd be a ton of use cases if we just kind of rolled it out and did it. So I think it's been great. I think everyone embraces it. I'm surprised at how easy it is to vibe code stuff. That is crazy to me. And there's certain people that have been doing a great job. Obviously, you just mentioned Grace. But I mean, any presentations, emails, I rely on, I was hooked to Claude for a while. Now I basically have all three, Claude, Grok, and ChatGPT, OpenAI. Yeah. And if it's that important, I'm running it through all three to see what they think. Claude's definitely still the primary. And with co-code and co-work, it has a lot of other features where I'm still, although I did just build a scheduling guru in the OpenAI new agent that I'm testing out this week. That seems to be working pretty well. But yeah, I think it's important. Again, I've said it on other podcasts. I say it to the company. I think it's important for every employee to use this. If you're not using it, you're not doing anything for yourself or for your company. You're getting behind the eight ball. I know, we've been interviewing a lot of entry level people or people coming out of college, and you're seeing them kind of be like,
very tentative.
So are we supposed to do this? Are we not? Our professors, yada, yada, yada. And that blows my mind. This isn't In the real world, it's not about how you get the information. It's about getting the information and getting it done as quick as you freaking can. So it's an unbelievable tool, and I think we're doing a great job with it, and we'll keep pushing it. I say this to Bob, and I say this to the company as well. AI for our customers come before AI for Wilmac. So we always make sure we're doing what's right for our products before we do internal stuff.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, I know I always hear this is the fact that the PR around AI is very poor in terms of like the public market and how people view it.
It's interesting.
It is interesting. And I don't know, I know I was cautious of it, but like Grace, perfect example. Came out of college, was an intern.
A technology college.
And a technology college, and basically told me that she didn't trust AI and didn't want to use it. And I just kind of told her, hey, use it for what you're comfortable for, right? Like what you're comfortable using it with right now, and just keep asking it. And she says to me the other day, she was like, I'm like, I don't even know how I would get my job done without Claude right now. Like the stuff that I'm thinking and that I'm enabling myself to do was not even in in the long distance, like from where I was looking before. So I just encourage people to try it. There's free versions of most of those out there, just to ask it questions. Like I've used it before to learn how to start my lawnmower when I didn't have anyone to ask and couldn't find the directions.
I would. Not that we're recommending anyone do anything, but I would recommend do a paid version, because the free version you could get some wild hallucinations and your data could get out in the real world.
Yes.
So just pay. There's cheap versions out there.
There is cheap versions
really
out there.
One of the big things we can probably talk about on the next one, because we're still getting around to it, is this AI brain. And that's basically connecting all our systems into Claude and being able to ask Claude questions that they can go to our Salesforce, our ticketing system, our project managing system, our QuickBooks, and it brings it all together. Larger companies have been using companies like Snowflake to help bring that together. A company of our size, we could probably just do it with Claude. And so, I mean, that's awesome. Sometimes when issues pop up, it could take 48 hours for you to get together with the entire team and get the whole story before you have to talk to the customer or before you have to do what you do. This way, you literally just ask the AI brain a question and spits out everything. So there's a lot more we can do that I think we'll be doing relatively quick in the next few months.
Well, I think in that same vein too, transparency. Like we had our half-year company-wide meeting, and we always have like our town hall-esque slides where we talk about how we're doing revenue-wise, what's closing, what dev team is doing. Like imagine if you're an employee and you can just prompt, "Hey, how are we doing?"
Right. Yeah.
Like that tells us a lot, and that's something that my team has brought up to say like, oh, I didn't even know that the sales was progressing on this. Yeah. That would typically come up in a meeting and they don't know who to ask. And I'm like, you could just ask Claude and it could give you the whole lowdown of how we're doing. So Bob, I guess as we start to wrap up this Q3 behind the build up, so is there anything else you want to share kind of on that front and as to how we're using AI within Wilmac?
I think everyone's crushing it. People come to me a lot with questions. I think what I've loved about our rollout, I haven't really had to like take a ton of time out of my day-to-day to go help people. I'm able to just give a quick hit. And you know what my answer usually is? Ask Claude, right? Like when you're stuck, ask Claude. And I'll help you prompt with like, what exactly should you be asking Claude to get out of this situation? But it's been pretty hands-off for me, which has allowed me, to Steve's point, stay focused on the product dev. That's really important to us.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what most of the time people are going to Bob and his team is like when they're trying to vibe code something or get co-work to work.
Yeah.
And you can literally just chat with Claude and it'll help you out. I think we've talked about this. It's been, I don't know, the new Opus, I think, gives you too much information. It's got to tighten up a bit. But overall, just chat with Claude Chat and it'll tell you what to do with Claude Code or co-work. It's amazing. Or do OpenAI for Claude. Whatever you have to do, it'll tell you exactly how to do it, or at least help you troubleshoot it.
100%. Yeah, troubleshooting is a big part of it for sure. So we just encourage our listeners to ask questions, be curious, dig into the AI.
Jump into it.
If
you're in college, learn it.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, wonderful. Steve, I guess I'll pose this last question to you, or what are you most excited about heading into the second half of this fiscal year?
A lot. I think Archie and Mac are obviously super exciting. Like when you see demos of this, it's like, whoa, we've came a long way and people are going to love this. But I think overall, we're so deep into it, we don't realize what we've already accomplished with WFM, getting a product from literally a thought in your head or at the customer's head that was helping us to a paid customer is a monumental step. So, and the pilots that we have going, again, are the big 911 centers. To be able to lock the 3 to 5 of those down, I think the momentum that we will create in the next 6 months is huge. So pretty pumped. I would say, everything's awesome, but pretty pumped up about where WFM has gotten so quickly.
Yeah. Bob, I think we've done, 4 or 5 of these behind the build episodes now. And to every time when I reflect on what we talked about in the last one and how much things have vastly changed since over the 3 months, every time I'm even more has changed. It's crazy to reflect back. So
yeah.
Thanks for always coming on and joining us and staying ahead of the game so you can speak to those changes. All right. Thank you to Bob for joining us on
Thanks, Bob.
this
Thanks for having me.
quarter 3 behind the build episode. It's always a pleasure. For our listeners, if you'd like to stay connected with Wilmac and follow along with Wilmac Continuity WFM and Mac, or Wilmac Continuity Replay and Archie, or both, or you just like the vibes that we're emitting from this podcast and want to see more of us, you can follow Wilmac on LinkedIn. You can visit wilmactech.com for more resources, subscribe to our monthly product newsletters, and you can lastly tune into the Wilmac Wire wherever you listen to podcasts. So thank you for joining us for another episode. And that's that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Wilmac Wire. If you like today's conversation, make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, or watch full episodes on our YouTube channel. You can also learn more about Wilmac Technologies and our work in customer interaction technology at wilmactech.com. We'll be back soon with more conversations with the drivers, those shaping our industry and those building right here in Western New York. See you next time.